Welcome back for the final race of the weekend, the GB4 Championship reverse grid race. This is always a very exciting race. Last time at Silverstone it threw up lots of different things. Lucas Romanek actually won the race here in his one round in the GB4 car, and Logan Hanna also getting on the podium as well, finishing second, and lots of tears from Logan back then, but that's then, this is now. We've got Chloe Grant, Logan Hanna's teammate with the Graham Brunton Racing with Laser Tools car, on the front row alongside Christian Leicester, with all cars making the 103% rule. Can you just explain the 103% rule if people are watching aren't too sure about that?
So people might be aware of the 107% rule, which is often enforced, I say often, it has been enforced in Formula 1. Well, in GB4 and GB3 we have an 103% rule for the reverse grid, which means that you take the qualifying times, the fastest qualifying time, and then we reverse the order unless your qualifying time was more than 103% of the fastest driver. So basically, if you did a 100-second lap, if you did a 1 minute 3, then you would be not able to take pole in the reverse grid. If you did a 1 minute 2, 1 minute 1, or a 1 minute, then you can take the reverse grid pole. And luckily this round, everyone has been within that 3%, so therefore it's a complete reverse grid. Chloe Grant on pole, Christian Leicester in second. Christian Leicester was the only driver this year that didn't make the 103% earlier in the year, but now has quite comfortably made it, so he's made some great improvements.
We did talk about that a little bit earlier on, and it's going to be very interesting to see what happens off the line. Chloe Grant has struggled with starts a little bit, and Christian Leicester maybe as well. Jessica Redger starting fourth, Marcus Short starting third in his first weekend. So, I mean, you know, if Jess or Marcus can get a good start there from the second row of the grid, I do fancy their chances of maybe making up a few places. Looking back down the field, Nicholas Taylor, I believe, starting 7th. Yep. He's won 2 races so far this weekend. We will see his second race win in just a second in our highlights. And, I mean, from 7th, he's done it from 5th already and 4th. Yep. Can he win from 7th?
It's definitely possible. We can see at the moment today it's raining, not raining, sunshine, no sunshine. I think if it doesn't rain again, it's likely to be dry, but we shall see. It could all change because you know, it could change in a matter of moments. But I think there's a good chance, with only 5 or 6 cars ahead of him, is a good chance. He's been a good starter. We know since the first round where he struggled, he's really come on in that area. We know that some of the guys who are starting at the back, maybe their starts aren't so consistent. We've seen some issues with that at the start of the year, but most people are pretty good at getting away now. But we've got some fast guys. We know we can race around Silverstone. The tow is massive, so I think the fastest driver will potentially win the race as long as they get a good start and keep their nose clean.
And on the back row of the grid, and you know, a little bit of a hindrance to qualifying quickly in the first 2 races means you start at the back, and now those are the hill speed cars of Max Maserati and Megan Joke starting right at the back there. I mean, it's not been Max's weekend so far. That first race, a bit of a disaster. Both Megan and Max getting punctures. Megan managing to make the best of a bad situation a bit more than Max. Yeah. You know, what can we expect from those drivers starting at the back there? Because they have got good pace.
We've already seen Megan Jilks race 1, actually pitted with a puncture, went to the back of the field during the safety car and worked her way through all the way to 3rd place. Again, a couple of cars missing, but we know that it's possible in the GB4 cars this weekend. Max Maserati as well, we've seen consistent finishes, some great moves, some great defence from him. I expect to see those 2 hill speed cars, which are the fastest 2 cars in qualifying, come through the field. I don't know how far up they'll get, but that really depends on how the race unfolds.
Yeah, and Max Maserati, in the highlights we're about to watch, had the fastest lap overall as well, so he's definitely got the pace. So as I said, Nicholas Taylor, the new championship leader after those 2 races. Let's catch up with the highlights of the first race today, the second race of the weekend in the GB4 Championship here at Silverstone.
Highlights from round 17 of the GB4 Championship, partnered by the BRDC, would see an all-hill speed front row of the grid as Max Maserati would lead from that pole position. Nick Taylor was instantly on the attack and up into 2nd place by the time they got down to Megas Beckers and Chapel. Marcus Short with a decent start, getting ahead of Jessica Redger, and as they raced their way down towards Stowe, it was Nicholas Taylor looking to the outside in the number 66. Jack Sherwood would look to the inside, and Max Maserati would try and hold a defensive line. He'd drive it in a little bit too deep and would relinquish the lead as Jack Sherwood would take over 3rd position on the race down towards Vale. Tom Mills was up in the 3rd spot though, as he would make his move on Jack Sherwood. And Sherwood had to be a little bit careful not to chop over the nose of Jarrell Bursky, who was just waiting there in the Kevin Mills racing car. One way, then back the other for the number 78, and Jack Sherwood would try and get around the outside of the first corner at Cots, would drive it in a little bit too deep, and this would create a bit of side-by-side action down towards everyone's favourite section of corners at Magas Beckers and Chapel. Tom Mills though on the left-hand side would have the advantageous line going through the first bit, would hold it around the outside, and then a bit of a moment from Jack Sherwood, who did a fantastic job to hang on to the car, but it would stop his momentum out the corner. Tom Mills would take 3rd position, and then Jared Wilberski was able to take 4th by the time they got down to the end of the Hanger Straight. Mega Jilks was the next one to line up to pass, as Jack Sherwood was in a little bit over the curb on the exit of Abbey, and Megan Jilks holding the advantage. Logan Hanna was queuing up to try and pass the 78, was not able to do so, as getting back into the rhythm, Jack Sherwood was able to hang on from the Laser Tools Graham Brunton racing machine. This was the final lap of the race. These two were battling out for 3rd place on the grid, and it was a bit of a moment there as Wilberski would go around the outside of Brooklands. Tom Mills would give just about enough room on the exit of Luffield. The two of them would have a drag race towards the line, all behind Nicholas Taylor, who was dominant in victory once again. Max Maserati missing out once more, and then this drag race seeing Jared Wilberski taking it by just a 1/10 of a second over his teammate Tom Mills. Megan Jilks unable to do anything to try and pass, and the number 66 does it again. Nick Taylor taking his 7th win of the GB4 Championship.
So I've grabbed Nicholas Taylor here in front of the Fortec garage, looking very casual ahead of the final race of the weekend. You said yourself, I believe, that you were just a little bit disappointed with qualifying. How have you bounced back from that this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, in quali we kind of had it was different to testing. Like, we were quick in testing, and then somehow in quali we were far off. But we fixed it for the races, and well, we're quite fast.
Clearly, I mean, you were obviously a race winner in those first races. How's the car feeling? Are you confident going into race 3?
Yeah, I'm confident. I mean, it's been raining, so I think the track will be a bit slower if it slicks. But if it's damp, I think we're quite good as well. So I'm quite confident.
And of course, as you mentioned, it has been changeable weather today. We don't know whether it will stay wet or stay dry. How have you had much chance to drive these cars in the wet and on wet tyres?
I only did it once, and it was media day, and it was like torrential rain. It reminded me of Malaysia. It was like insane.
Do you find it much different driving these cars in the wet? And if you do, what's the differences in how you have to approach the race?
It's just you have to be like, just don't bin it basically. But the setup has to be different as well, because if you get a twitch with a dry setup, you twitch and you're gone. But with a wet setup, you can kind of control it a bit more.
Great. And finally, your teammates have been doing well this weekend. It seems like Jess Edgar's moved on a lot. Have you been helping them? Have they been helping you? Is there a good dynamic in the team at the moment?
I think she got a bit of coaching from someone, and I think I tested her car at Pembury, and I did a bit of coaching there as well. But she's definitely improved a lot.
Brilliant. That's great. Well, thank you very much, Nicholas. Good luck in the final race of the weekend, and yeah, we'll see you on track.
Let's take a look at the venue then. We are racing this weekend as we head to Northamptonshire, to one of the most legendary circuits in the United Kingdom. It is, of course, Silverstone, a fantastic venue for any style of racing. If it can be raced, it will be raced around here. A circuit which opened back in 1948. So much history around here. Of course, one of those circuits that was built for an old-fashioned RAF airfield. The length of 3.6 miles, roughly 5.9 kilometres, with so many twists and turns over the 3 sectors. Iconic is a word which would be associated with such a venue. Over the 18 corners, of course, fantastic ones like Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel, overtaking opportunities into the likes of Copse and Stowe with their high-speed commitment, and then, of course, that fantastic section that was built back in the early 2010s where you go through farm, into village, into the loop, and of course that entrance into Brooklands, absolutely superb.
Let's ride on board Max Maserati in this GB4 car around the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. World famous and amazing circuit for these cars. Not quite flat through turn 1, very fast through Copse Corner. Watch the exit, because running wide will incur a penalty. You'll see Max just adjust the mirrors here. He'll be needing those starting from pole position in both race 1 and race 2. We go into Maggots left, keeping it, then tugging right through Beckett's, and then left to open up Chapel. Using a lot of curb there, can unsettle the car, but he settled it nicely there. And then the very important run out onto the Hanger Straight. Very long straight here, 780 metres. One of the main overtaking opportunities. You can see him adjusting his mirrors once again. Those mirrors do get affected by the wind, so you can see it moving down. He'll have to set them properly for the race. We now go into Stowe, opening up the entry as much as possible, nice and smooth on the brakes to not unsettle the car. Perfect apex on the right-hand side, and then watching track limits again on the exit. We now move right to straighten the car up for the very important braking for Vale and Club. Late apex, turning in strong and late to allow us to go flat out through Club. As we head out onto the Hamilton Straight. Hamilton Straight, 500 metres, so another area where slipstreaming is going to be a big part of the race. The new wing, which connected with the brand new bridge to the hotel on the left-hand side, we're then flat out pretty much through Abbey and Farm Curve. Whether it's flat in the race will depend on your setup. We then get the car nice and straight. You can see Max straightening the car nicely to allow the braking hard into the village. Don't use all the exit because it compromises your run into the loop. You can see him, nice late apex, settling the car for a great exit through the exit of the loop and through this little kink of Aintree onto the very long 640 metre Wellington Straight. Again, another area for overtaking in the race, with slipstreaming being a big part of the first time we came here earlier in the year. Using all the curb on the right hand side to open up the entry to Brooklands, braking in a straight line to allow us to go nice and deep. We then run out to the edge and then fire it into the final corner, Luffield. Going wide, don't need to make that second apex to allow traction because we can still stay on the circuit. Max doing an excellent job of that there. And then through the final little kink, Woodcote on the 770 metre run into the first corner. That'll be where the overtaking is at the start of the race.
Piers, there's a very bright thing in the sky. It's called the sun. We've talked about the weather here. We've spoken in the rain today, we've spoken in the cloud today, we've spoken in a tiny bit of sunlight today, and now there's umbrellas out. There are umbrellas in the assembly area. I mean, I'm just astounded at what's going on here in the assembly area.
I can feel my neck burning.
I know. I've just seen Richard Randall, who you mentioned on commentary, who is behind all the press stuff. So whenever you see photos, whenever you see photos or anything like that, this is the man behind it. Just to give Richard Randall a bit of love here. There he is. Look at him. Look at him. He's missing the cricket for this, and he couldn't be happier. Now we've got to talk about this reverse grid race in GB4. Obviously, Chloe Grant is starting on pole position here. Now, she started at the front before. It's not gone so well. She struggled with her starts a little bit. I mean, that's surely something, obviously after that first time she's probably worked on, so we're hoping to get a good start from her. And we mentioned Christian Leicester, who's starting second, who we talked about quite a lot because he's really been improving and he's been moving his way up, and originally didn't get into the 103% range, which we discussed just before. Now he's there. Now he's second on the grid. I mean, if you're Christian Leicester, how are you approaching this race, knowing that maybe you haven't had the pace that some of the cars behind you have?
Well, he's now got some experience of starting on the front row, having started on the front row at pole, I believe, at Donington Park.
Yep.
Obviously, that didn't go well. Unfortunately, stalled on the grid. Avoided an incident, which is great, but he's done that experience. He knows what it's like. He's been there, so he'll take that, learn from it. He'll know what went wrong. And also, the pace this weekend from Christian Leicester has been exceptional, considering the way he started the year. He's now right up there. He's within a few tenths of the rest of the grid, and he's been fighting hard with other drivers. Actually, finished ahead of Chloe Grant, I believe, in one of the races. So
yeah, the second race just then, and was fighting at the back for a while with Chloe's teammate Logan Hanna as well, and Marcus Short, the new driver for Hillspeed. So he's actually had a fairly decent weekend with a few battles as well. So it'll be interesting to see if he can get that start going.
And it's great to see also a small team like Rosso Verde. They're not turning up with a big articulated lorry, and which a lot of the teams are very professional, which is why they have teams in GB3 and other championships. But Rosso Verde, they race loads of different club-like championships, and they can still run a car that is competitive in a series like this. So it's great to see that you can do this sort of championship on a range of budgets.
And as Jonathan Palmer's told us many times, obviously you can get involved in the GB4 for quite an affordable, and that is it. Speaking in motorsport
relative terms, yep.
Quite an affordable championship to get involved in, and obviously that naturally leads into the GB3 Championship. We're looking at sort of Nicholas Taylor doing very well. Potentially, maybe he'll move into GB3 next year. It'll be interesting to see how the rest of the championship goes. So it attracts very good drivers. A lot of these drivers not coming with a great deal of experience. So yeah, it's kind of a lot of them's first experience, isn't it, out of karts?
Of course, a lot of these drivers straight out of karts. We've seen in GB3 as well. But I know that some of these drivers, I think Logan Hanna actually has done some Formula Ford.
She has,
a few Formula Ford drivers, but some straight out of karts. I believe Jess Edgar, she's not done a huge amount of racing outside of karting, and it's a great first step into car racing, because the cars, while they are fast, they're not too intimidating. You've still not got too much downforce, but at the same time, you're using a very similar tub to GB3, to a lot of the official Formula 3 and Formula 2. It's very similar, produced by Tatus as well, so it's a familiar thing, and they're getting the feel of a proper racing car, and it's still fast. I mean, we're looking at 135, 140 miles an hour down the Hanger Straight, so.
Well, Megan Gilks as well, we were saying maybe with more experience, actually sort of combining the GB4 series here in the UK with racing the sort of Formula Ford equivalent back in Canada. So she's got a lot of experience, also driven in W Series as well. So you've got some exceptional drivers mixed with some very exciting upcoming talents. I just have to point our cameraman towards what is very packed grandstand here. Very nice to see at Silverstone that everyone enjoying it there. I mean, a little bit earlier it was where everyone went to hide from the rain a little bit, and I think everyone's now the sun's come out. We've seen jackets come off. Can't see any umbrellas, but the sunglasses have all been put back on. Everyone's having a very nice day here at Silverstone. So if you've never been down to any of the tracks that we feature here on the GB4 Championship, then maybe you should come down.
Very reasonable ticket prices at these weekends. You get all access, so you can pretty much walk around wherever you want in the teams. You can see the cars up close, so it's a great weekend, and you get to see some racing as well as other races which have been going on this weekend.
A lot of kids as well with programs getting signatures from drivers as well, which is really nice to see. And obviously, bringing through the younger race fans, and obviously, they end up becoming drivers. Like I know Chloe Grant has got pictures with a lot of famous drivers when she was very, very wee, as I imagine she would say. And look where she is now. She's starting on pole position, the GB4 Championship. Let's take a little walk here. The race that's on the track at the moment is just finishing there. We've seen them take the checkered flag. We spoke to Marcus Short earlier here in the Hillspeed car. This is his first weekend in GB4, and personally I think he's done very, very well. He's got used to the car very, very quickly, and certainly made huge strides. And obviously this is a reverse grid race. He's starting third. Has he got a chance?
Yes, definitely, considering you can see on the outside tyres, the left-hand side, he has got brand new tyres. He's saved his only 2 new tyres after qualifying for this race, knowing that he's probably going to be someone in the back. So he will have a lot of grip in that car, potentially more than the cars around him. Looking at the other cars, yes, all used tyres around him. So he's probably got the best tyres of anyone on the grid. And starting from third position, if he gets away well, he's improved in every session. I remember speaking to him, he said about a second a session or something ridiculous like that, and he's now, pace was good, he was fighting amongst the mid-pack, and if he gets maybe a good start, launches the front 2 on the grid, then he could have a bit like Marcus Flack did in that previous race, get away at the start, let the carnage happen behind, and he could have his first win in his first weekend, like as we saw Lucas Romanek in last time we were here at Silverstone.
And also as these drivers are getting used to the car, I mean the actual driving itself in terms of how you look at the tactics and your strategy, it'll be the same as what they've done in other race series as well. We've got to move back here as well. I mean, Logan Hanna didn't have a great day yesterday, a little bit better earlier today, but behind her, along with Tom Mills, who's been very strong this weekend, is Nicholas Taylor, who we were discussing earlier in the show. Obviously, I mean, he came from 5th in the first race, was it? And maybe 4th in the second race earlier on today. So down in 7th place on the grid today. I mean, realistically, we've talked about it before, the opportunity that he has to, make it 3 in a weekend. What are you saying?
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But I'm thinking there's some stiff competition. Tom Mills has been on the podium now a couple of times, or he's been up there. He's definitely with one podium. And we've got Charles Boberski. He's looked very racy this weekend with an unfortunate error in race 1 which put him out. But then race 2, very, very bold, good pace. I'm taking his teammate on pretty much the last corner of the race. He's not afraid of a couple of moves. And then of course the 2 Hillspeed cars, the fastest cars this weekend at the back of the grid.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting to see. I mean, we talked about it a little while ago, Megan and Max Maserati. Now, in the GB3 race, we saw Luke Browning and we saw Yoel Granforce and actually Callum Boyson as well really whiz through the pack. It's it's a grid that's a lot smaller in GB4, but you're thinking Max Maserati, the fastest driver so far today in GB4, I mean, he could make up some serious places, as could Megan. So, we could see Nicholas Taylor, if he doesn't make progress, he could have them right behind him. And, the 2 championship contenders at the moment, Max Maserati and Nicholas Taylor, they could be fighting it out in the mid-pack.
I honestly don't know who I could call for this race win. It could be anyone. Again, with the grid not being so massive, with this big grid building round on round, but year on year as well, I'm sure it will. The difference between the front and the back is not so many cars, so anyone pretty much on the grid could take this win. We've seen drivers who've started at the back and come through. We've seen drivers start at the front and drive away. So I'm going to leave Lewis to predict the winner of this race.
Yeah, put it all on someone else. I like what you're doing there. I've just seen Jack Sherwood adjusting here his wing mirrors. Now, questions that hit me while we're live on the broadcast. When you're driving, I mean, at the speeds you're going, do the wing mirrors ever, they obviously move. Does the speed of the wind make them move? Can you adjust them when you're driving? Because it seems like something quite distracting.
As you can see, they're attached to the tub basically by a bolt that goes through, and they've got a vertical member that holds the actual wing mirror itself. They are shaped so they're somewhat aerodynamic. They don't just not just a big draggy component, but they still produce quite a lot of force, and that rotates them backwards. So sometimes you'll find when you're driving, if they're not done up quite tight enough, they kind of tilt back and then you end up with a nice view of your side pod, which is not very helpful when you're in a battle. So sometimes you might see the driver just put their hand out and push the wing mirror back upright again, which helps them see just over the rear tyres. Although saying that, you still cannot see a huge amount in these mirrors. They're very small, and even if you crouch down now, like you can see that basically you've got a rear wing, a rear tyre, a rear suspension all in the way, but you can at least get an idea of where the cars are around you. But when a car goes up the inside, so if they're right behind you in the slipstream and they pull out and then send it up the inside, as soon as they brake late and they're on your inside, you're basically driving blind to where that car is. You leave enough space that you think that they're going to allow them to get through on the inside and then hopefully carry around the outside, but it's very easy for, if someone understeers into you, you don't know they're coming, and that's when the contact often happens and the driver doesn't even know where that driver on the inside is.
Yeah, I was going to say the blind spot is something pretty worrying, because you imagine the blind spot on your car, and obviously I'm not a driver, you're the driver here. You know, the blind spot when you're on the motorway in your normal car, you know, it can be quite big, and when you're driving at the speeds they're driving at, I mean, it's a real consideration. What kind of range is the blind spot?
Also, remember that in your motorway or on your normal road car, you've got quite big mirrors. If you're blind spot, you can always turn your head and look into that blind spot. These drivers are strapped in at the shoulder, you're in a reclined position, you've got the headrests that come right up beside your head for safety. There's absolutely no chance you are turning your head past about 20 degrees. You can see them when they're going through Luffield. They turn their head to the apex, but that's about as far as you can look, about this far. You can't just look over your shoulder and have a look. So that blind spot relies on the trust of the driver on the inside and the trust of the driver on the outside, and that's what we talk about it a lot. If you're going for a move, you need to trust that driver is going to give you room, and if you are at the inside, you need to be able to control that car and keep on the apex that the driver on the outside is expecting you to keep, because otherwise that's when the contact comes. But in GB4, I don't want to jinx it, but we've seen some excellent racing. Everyone been giving each other enough space throughout the year so far.
I've got a question for you here now. I don't know if there's a slight delay. The cars are all running. We're not quite going on track yet. But I see here on the back of Nicholas Taylor's car, this chap here has plugged something in. If you could just explain what he's plugged in and why we're doing this.
So the cars have a battery which of course allows them to start the car like your normal road car, but the batteries on these cars are of course much smaller to try and keep the weight down. Anyone who's ever lifted a normal road car battery will know how heavy they are, and you don't want all that weight in a racing car. So what they do is they will plug a separate external battery in the back of the car to start the car up so that it doesn't drain the battery in the car. For example, if then the driver on circuit spins, they've then got maximum battery power to style that car up quickly, because you don't want to be sitting there chugging away when the race is still going on. So it just allows the car to have as much charge in the battery ready for when you need it on circuit.
Excellent, Piers. We're going to leave it there. Piers Pryor is going to run and join Lewis McGlade now for the commentary as we hand over for the final race of the weekend here in the GB4 Championship.
Cheers to JJ and cheers to DP as well, as we'll say goodbye to John Jackson until we meet up with him after the race and we get ready for the third race of the weekend after an incredible third race in the GB3 Championship. I mean, that was absolutely breathtaking. What are we going to get in this? We've had a double dub from Nick Taylor, or someone else coined it a quadruple U, which I think is hilarious. But Nick Taylor having those two victories, neither of them coming from pole position. Who's going to be the driver to take to the top in this one? That's the real question. The third race, of course, in Silverstone before, it was one of our debutants, being Lucas Romanek. The only round that he took victory in that third and final race. So who's going to do it now? Is it from the front row? Is it going to be a super win from Chloe Grant, from Christian Leicester, who's found a lot of speed this weekend? We were seeing that in the previous race where he was really showing his form. Could it come from Christian Leicester? I'm not so sure. He did start from reverse grid back in Donington, from the reverse grid pole, got it within the 103% rule, was waving his hands, and unfortunately it wasn't enough because he stalled the car and he wasn't able to get it back going again. As we're rolling though on the formation lap, we can take a look at the grid, we can take a look at the 11 drivers that will be taking to the start, and we can see that Chloe Grant and Christian Leicester will be starting from first and starting from second. Behind those in third position though, as we'll see the reverse grid roll its way through, Christian Leicester, who'll be starting from the front row of the grid, will try and find his way past Marcus Short though on debut, with Jessica Edgar alongside third and fourth. Logan Hanna in fifth place, with Tom Mills in 6th. Behind that in 7th place is where we will find Nicholas Taylor, our championship leader, Jared Wilberski in 8th place. And then behind them in 9th is Jack Sherwood, Max Maserati, who had pole position in the previous race. And then we have Megan Gilks, who will be starting from 11th position after taking the initial pole, having a 3-place grid penalty, but still had that original pole, had that fastest lap, and I think this is going to be a fun one.
This is going to be a great race. If the GB3 reverse grid races, anything to go by, this could be crazy as well. We've seen amazing races in GB4 throughout the season. I'm hoping for another one. I expect those 2 hill speed cars at the back of the grid to come there to make sure that they drive their way through. I'm also expecting Nicholas Taylor to show some of that racecraft he's shown previously with some amazing pace, but then he's sandwiched in between those 2 Kevin Mills racing cars, those dark grey and blue cars that we can see in shot now. Tom Mills in the 21 and then Jared Wilberski in the number 20.
Now, I didn't say it in the GB3 race because we were in the middle of all this crazy action, but I will just say, now that we can see that that is not a Kevin Mills racing sandwich. Anyone who says that is incorrect, because you don't name a sandwich after its bread. It's a Nick Taylor sandwich with Kevin Mills bread. So we'll go with that. I'm just correcting you on something from a completely previous race in a different broadcast, but I wanted to step that one up straight away.
We'll agree to disagree, Lewis.
Well, you don't call it. No. We're going to get completely off topic. We've got a great race to look forward to here. Now, I heard you in the assembly area saying that the prediction had to be mine as to who's going to take this race win.
I voluntarily told you that you're going to make a decision.
I'm not going to.
You're going to have to.
No, the reason why I'm not going to is because we all know who I'm going to say, but we know that if we say it, they'll be like, oh, it's jinxed. So, no, I'm not saying it. No.
Okay, Lewis, who are you thinking? Who do you think is most likely to take the win?
The person who had the most wins in GB4.
Who is that? I think you're pointing towards a Nicholas Taylor win here.
I might well be.
If you're honest, then that is a good bet because he's shown amazing pace. He's had 2 race wins already. Could he do the 3rd?
He might, but he does have to deal with some very, very stiff competitions.
Yes.
Those hill speeds have been incredibly fast in a straight line. However, I did speak to Megan Gilks after the race, and she was saying that she was struggling to get past those 2 Kevin Mills racing cars in the previous race. She couldn't get through because dirty air and stuff. They kind of, all the teams tried adjusting their car in whatever way they could for the potential wet weather. For some teams it worked, for some teams it didn't. And that's kind of the drama that sometimes you need to think about. And yeah, like I said, she couldn't make her way past despite being the fastest car in a straight line.
Yes, of course, being that straight line speed helps when you're trying to overtake, but even though these cars don't run a huge amount of wing, they've got a single beam wing with 2 gurney flaps and then a single beam rear wing. They do produce enough downforce that you can get a bit of aero wash, which means that the front tyres get a little bit less aerodynamic load when you get behind a car in front because of the dirty air, which is basically turbulent, messy air that falls off the back of the car. You might have seen it in Formula 1 when it's a bit damp. You can often see the vortices off the wings, or in previous years anyway, not so much now with the rule changes, but that can affect. You can't get quite as close to the car in front as you would wish through the fast corners, but we've still seen some amazing racing, and if the cars are equal on pace, then we know that there's going to be some great racing, and it seems that way. I think Jack Sherwood is going to be looking for a strong race after not his best weekend, but I don't think a lot of it's down to his own fault, because I believe the first race looked like he was a bit of an innocent party, and then the second race, I haven't confirmed it, but it looked like he didn't quite have the pace in the middle of the race.
Yes, he said, actually, I had a chat with him. I don't know why I'm so shocked by this. They used, so because of the incident they had in the first race, they had to use some tyres they weren't really wanting to, that were slightly dirty than they were expecting, and he was saying that it just, that basically they were on slightly tyres,
yes,
more tyres compared to what they wanted.
On the strategy of tyres, on the subject of tyres,
yes,
tyre strategy,
we're good at English.
I spoke to Max Maserati's father after race 2, and he said due to the puncture he got in race number 1, they are on a slightly different strategy to everyone around them, so that could play into this race.
Yeah, like I say, when you're on the back foot, it does put you in a bad spot. We're about to get underway for the 3rd race of the weekend. Round 18 of the GB4 Championship, partnered by the BRDC. Chloe Grant is on pole position alongside Christian Leicester, who stalled on the grid once again from the front row. Everyone's managed to avoid him. He'll be able to refire it again, but Christian Leicester, such big drama as we race our way through turn 1. Nick Taylor going past not only Logan Hanna, but also the number 17, his teammate of Jessica Edgar, as they race their way down. Chloe Grant is going to be leading from Marcus Short. Nick Taylor is up to 3rd.
Already in 3rd place, a great start from Nicholas Taylor, but almost as wide. Jack Sherwood across the grass, but Chloe Grant has gone, thank you very much, I'll take that lead, and she is trying to check out.
Oh, he's wide
Sherwood
again,
wide
is Jack
again.
Sherwood. I think he might be struggling a bit here as he jumps back onto the race circuit on the hanger straight. Chloe Grant is still leading, of course. Marcus Short has to worry about Nick Taylor. He has to be a bit more patient here. He can't make it 4 wide. Let's see what Nicholas Taylor does. He gets to the inside coming into Stowe, commits onto the brakes and gets past the hill speed number 88. Nick Taylor up potentially to second position as another
Sherwood.
wide moment. There is a big issue surely with Sherwood's car.
I reckon he's probably just gone wide early in the race and got some dirt on those very sticky tyres, and that has meant that he's not quite got the grip that he needs at this stage of the race. He needs to reset and try and scrub those tyres back in and then try and make his way through the field, because it's still pretty cramped at the moment where everyone is together.
Yeah, basically just be a bit more patient here. Still running in 10th position at the rear end
the
of the
back
train.
of the field.
Look at this from Tom Mills. Down the inside of Marcus Short. But, oh, Marcus Short has seen him coming, though. He keeps his eyes on the mirrors as they're so close coming through the farm curve up towards Village. And that number 88 is still able to hang on. But look at Tom Mills straight down the inside. Logan Hanna's going to want that as well. Bit of a lock up in the foreground as well. Short still around the outside. Down to the inside as they head through the loop. The outside line might favour Tom Mills, though, as he kicks it out onto the Wellington Straight when they go through Aintree.
This is a side-by-side manoeuvre. We've seen that 3 corners in a row. Again, great racing. Marcus Short, first race in the champion. Battle for the lead. Nicholas Taylor around the outside. He looks like he's got ahead.
I think he's already done it before they've got into Brooklyn, though. Chloe Grant's not going to let that one go.
3 wide.
There's 3 wide in the background. Chloe Grant hangs on. The up and under, though, from Nick Taylor as he's trying to make it stick at the outside at Luffield as they're still battling in the background. We'll catch up with that in a second because the race lead is going to go its way to Nick Taylor once again. He's going to lead here at Silverstone, but Chloe Grant is not giving up as they head round Woodcote.
They're still side-by-side as well in the background. It's 2 by 2. Nicholas Taylor is going to lead this lap now. He's ahead 3 wide going into Cobbs. This can't work, surely.
Yes, Max Maserati is trying to make it stick, but no, Tom Mills able to hang on from Marcus Short. Logan Hanna, super stuff, up into 3rd. She's had to work for that one. She's come back.
I think she was the one that actually put it 3 wide into Brooklands. It looked, I didn't want to call it because it's hard to tell in the background when the cars are all blurring, but I think she stuck it up the inside of both Tom Mills and also Marcus Short. She is fighting that car though, and now Tom Mills is going to have a good run on her going into Stowe.
Yeah, she had a couple of moments coming through Maggots, a couple more coming through Chapel as she comes out onto the hanger straight. Tom Mills is surely going to find his way straight back through after a couple of bad exits. Look at that, Max Maserati also trying to get past his teammate in the number 88. We'll keep our eye on the foreground though as Tom Mills looking to the outside. This is Max Maserati in the 81 getting around the outside of Marcus Short. Also Jared Wilburski to the inside of Megan Jilks in the background.
Oh, this is crazy stuff. We're going 2 by 2. Now Logan Hanna getting done on the inside by Tom Mills into Vale.
Yes, indeed, Tom Mills making his way around the outside, so Tom Mills gaining the position and now up into 3rd spot. As you can see in the background, Jack Sherwood as well with Darren Wilburski side by side, almost a little bit of contact on the Hamilton Straight as they run towards Abbey, and Jack Sherwood is up that spot. Wilburski not finding the speed.
Look at that, once again the aggressor becoming the person that is the victim, because if you make a move and then it doesn't quite stick, then your momentum is backwards in the field, and there are so many cars right there waiting to take your place off you.
Yeah, Jilks has been one of the fastest cars all weekend, had that pole position.
Wide.
The opening one, that's 2 wide for Logan Hanna, who's going to get pulled off the circuit. She's going to try and drag it back on, though. She's going to run wide again. She does manage to keep it on, lose the position to Short, lose the position to Jilks as well. Who's going to come through Jack Sherwood and Jared Wilburski down to the rear end of this train, down to 9th spot.
That is so unfortunate. It's so easily done there. That curb is raised, so in these single-seat cars, you've got a plank down the middle of the car, which keeps the cars at a certain ride height. But if you go over that curb, the bottom of the plank hits the curb and your wheels are no longer on the circuit, and then it just drags you off the track, and that shows you there how much time you lose if you're not on the racing line.
Wow, what a lead it is for Nicholas Taylor, completing the 2nd lap of the race as there is side-by-side in the background.
Touch.
It's Wilburski once again. There was a bit of contact.
There was wheel-to-wheel contact between Jack Sherwood and Jared Wilburski trying to squeeze each other. Sherwood trying to push him inside and Wilburski trying to push him outside, but they both live to fight another day, and they're still side-by-side going into Maggots and Beckett's. Who's going to come out on top?
How many times have we seen these two race? Super stuff. Of course, not being able to make his way through after losing the ground early doors. The number 78 is coming back to it. Another bit of a moment there, though, coming out onto Chapel and out onto the hanger straight. It might mean that Logan Hanna, who's been feisty this weekend, it must be said.
She has said that move into Brooklands was very brave. We can now see Megan Jilks trying to get the inside of Marcus Short.
Yeah, she should be able to make this one stick again. Her teammate in that number 88. That was quite an easy move there for Megan Jilks, just nice and clean down the inside. Short did not fight that one too hard. I wonder if he's just trying to build up his experience rather than trying to get elbows out straight away.
Max Maserati now going on to the back of Tom Mills. He looks like he wants that position, he wants that podium, he wants to minimise the gap in the championship to Nicholas Taylor, who is leading this race at the moment with a nice comfortable 2.5 second gap.
Yeah, Nicholas Taylor is running away at the moment. Saw him come through the foreground, a shot there. There is Chloe Grant still keeping Tom Mills at bay as they head through Abbey, head through Farm Curve and back into the Village Loop section. The number 10 in that white and blue just keeping the Kevin Mills racing car, the 21 directly behind. But like you say, when you've got someone fighting for the championship, we've just made a bit of a lock-up there on the front left, which is so easy to do.
Yeah, when the cars are going into these corners, that new section, Village and the Loop, both corners you are turning and braking, and that loads the outside tyres and unloads the inside tyres. And if you're carrying the brake a bit too hard into the corner, that unloaded inside front tyre can just under-rotate, lock up. Do that too many times, you'll have a vibration. Move at the back.
Sherwood again, Sherwood and Waberski again going side by side. It's Sherwood on the inside, Waberski on the outside as they head through Brooklands. We'll see them come through the shot just about now, and they're still side by side. Waberski ahead of Sherwood, so he's hanging on at least for this lap.
Yeah, I don't reckon that's going to stay for very long with those two fighting each other. It's backwards and forwards now. Grant getting under pressure from Tom Mills. Has he got an overlap? Yes, he has. He's looking up the inside of Stowe. Can Grant stay around the outside? Not quite. Look how close they are. That is right under the rear wing. Any contact there, and that could have been a big accident.
But big respect between the two of them. Now Max Maserati's going to try and make it stick on Chloe Grant. Doesn't choose to try and keep his foot in, heading down into Maggots, Beckes and Chapel. So we'll keep just on the rear end of that number 10 Laser Tilts Graham Brunton racing car. Tom Mills, though, is up now into second position. A little bit of a wide exit. Picks up a little bit of the grass. It should be an easy move for Maserati.
Maserati should be able to get through, although Chloe Grant is staying in the slipstream of Tom Mills, which will keep her top speed up, and that might make it hard for Maserati. It looks like Maserati's going to try and go around the outside. He's got the overlap, not quite. Can he keep it around the outside? His brake late, he's on the outside, he's got the line, he's got the exit, he is clear, and he's on the podium for now, and he's going to hunt down Tom Mills.
I've got to say, Chloe Grant's fighting it though. She's trying to do something, but as she's lost the momentum, this is what happened with Jack Sherwood in the previous race as well. Megan Jilks wasn't able to get through. Once you get out of that racing line, once you get out of the momentum, everyone's just like, right, 3 meals here, let's get through.
You can see, again, the clouds have come over this section of the circuit. It's bright sunshine going down the Hampton Straight, but Vale is in the shadow. Megan Jilks at the inside of Chloe Grant.
Yeah, this will be a big move into Abbey. Of course, Megan Jilks has gone side by side with one of the Graham Brunton racing cars this weekend into this corner. She was on the outside of Logan Hanna in the very first race when Logan Hanna spun that one. A nice move down the inside into Abbey at the end of the Hamilton Straight. This now the battle for second position. The 21 on the left-hand side of your screen. That one is Tom Mills and Max Maserati, who came into this round as championship leader. As they're side by side, Waberski trying to get past Chloe Grant now to the outside, coming through Aintree. Waberski with the momentum. Waberski potentially with the position, but he's got to make it stick coming down into Brooklands.
Absolutely, he's going to have the run, but will he be able to hold it around the outside of Chloe Grant? We know she's been good on the brakes so far. Waberski is looking feisty. He's holding it around the outside. Let's see if that comes off.
Oh, a bit of a moment.
Still side by side.
Bit of a moment as well from Tom Mills, and Maserati is feeling hungry right now. Marcus Short keeping Jack Sherwood at bay, and you're absolutely right that position has been made up by Waberski.
Yes, Chloe Grant going back one more position. She's going to be a bit disappointed. She's just going backwards, and that momentum is so hard to stop. Once you're going back, it's one after another. Maserati filling the mirrors of Tom Mills, although right behind him is his teammate Megan Jilks. She is right there. We know that car's quick in a straight line. Everyone going wide at the exit of Cops.
Yeah, that was Jack Sherwood making the spot, of course, on Marcus Short. I think he might very quickly try and make one stick on Chloe Grant. You can see it in the background. They were side by side, and you can see going around the outside, just as we lose him in the back of Shot, that is a position potentially being made up by Jack Sherwood. So he might well have got his way not only into 7th past Short, but up into 6th past Chloe Grant as well.
Nick Taylor. 5-second gap at the front. That is ominous.
Absolutely incredible at the moment by Nick Taylor, as this is that battle. So Chloe Grant still was able to hang on through Maggots, Beckes and Chapel, but Jack Sherwood is to the outside. Jack Sherwood is trying to make it stick in that number 78, same as Marcus Short, getting around the outside of Chloe Grant's teammate, going through Stowe and down towards the Vale chicane. Will wait for them as they come through. Sherwood is ahead. Marcus Short's done both of them.
Oh, what a move on his first weekend. He's got 2 new tyres on that car, so he's got a bit of extra grip, which is helping him, a bit more confidence. Jessica Edgar in that Vortec white and red car, looking for a move there, but not quite being able to make it stick on Logan Hanna.
I mean, what a move from Marcus Short. I know the Graham Brunton racing cars are certainly not slow, and those two are finding so much speed every single round. But what a absolute stunner from Marcus Short, as Logan Hanna gets down the inside of her teammate, who's going to be getting frustrated here. It's another position, outside. So she's not going to let this one go.
Was he going to be contacting the exit? That's so close there. But Chloe Grant having to give way to her teammate Logan Hanna after an excellent move into Village. Classic manoeuvre, late break, block off the exit. And now Jess Edgar looking left, looking right, looking left once again. Oh, Chloe Grant is following her. That's a little bit naughty, but hopefully there's nothing there. Oh, she's forcing off the circuit. That defence is a bit too much, I reckon.
I also agree. I think that was a little too much from Chloe Grant, just trying to keep Jess Edgar at bay. That one for 9th position. Yeah, very stressy moments. I will say Jess Edgar's had some great pace this weekend. She's really proved that. So's Logan Hannah. I mean, to be fair, so's everyone on the grid. That's what we always see in the GB4 Championship. But alas, not everyone can win. This is Weberski, who's in 5th position, close right up to the back of that battle for the podium.
Chasing down those two hill speed cars. Those hill speed cars, red and white. Max Maserati in number 81 with his teammate Megan Jilk, 64, right behind him, and then Jared Weberski closing the two. That is the hill speed are in a Kevin Mills Racing sandwich.
No, they're not. It's a hill speed sandwich with Kevin Mills Racing bread. This is going to keep going all season.
Regardless, 4-way fight for 2nd place here for Max Maserati. I'm going to look, he's filling the mirrors of Tom Mills, trying to make him defend to try and get a good exit, because we know that Vale is a place where you can overtake if you get late on the brakes.
Yes, that was a little bit of a look for the hill speed of Maserati. This battling, though, again, it's just allowed Nick Taylor to fly away into the distance. He's already coming through and onto the Hamilton straight, whilst they're all scobbling their ways through Club Corner now. It's still Tom Mills hanging on to 2nd position. Maserati, Jilks and Weberski at bay. It's Kevin Mills versus hill speed. And guess who's coming in? Of course, the number 78 Elite Motorsports trying to join the party as well.
Jack Sherwood, after that poor start, is trying to make amends, and he is closing onto the back of this group. His last lap was actually slightly faster than the guys in front. Actually, I lie, it was slightly slower. But if this kicks off, then they're going to drag themselves backwards, because we know fighting loses you time compared to the drivers that are driving on their own. So Sherwood could be in this fight before the end of the race. We've still got 2 more laps after this one. Plenty of time. 3 more laps, my mistake. 3 more laps after this one. So plenty of time for lots of moves. 3 laps of 18 turns, that's a long way to go with this 5.9 kilometre circuit.
Yeah, especially when the laps are 2 minutes long. You've got plenty of time to at least try and find a way through. Oh, there was a little bit of a look there from Max Maserati as he was trying to find his way past and get down the inside of Mills, but the 21 still hangs on to 2nd. They were very difficult to pass. When we remember back to the previous race, it was Mills and Weberski who were battling between each other. They were very hard to pass for the hill speed driver of Megan Jilk. I think we're seeing that again.
Yes, of course, it is hard to pass because they're so close. Oh, Maserati's very, very close. He's looking inside. He's got an overlap now. Is Mills going to allow him to go around the inside? Maserati holding there. Mills around the outside. They both leave the circuit.
Oh, it's so dicey between the two. They are still going to be side by side down towards Maggotts, Beckett and Chapel. Maggotts entered. It's still Tom Mills on the outside. Max Maserati down the inside. He's gained the spot now. So Maserati up in a second. Megan Jilks also trying to find his way through. It's a little bit too wide there from Mills. And I think Megan Jilks, she's going to give it a go. She's going to try something as they head onto the hangar straight. But watch out for Weberski, who's super close.
Weberski right there. And look at Jack Sherwood looking at all this, licking his lips, rubbing his hands together in the background. We're going to go 3 wide, or what looks like it. Jilks looking at the outside. I don't think Tom Mills will allow that to happen. No, she's got the full overlap. That car, we know, is quick in a straight line. She's made the most of that. Weberski to the outside of his teammate. I don't think that will work. I say that. I say that.
It definitely did.
Well, that'll teach me for talking.
Yeah, but Mills is going to try and fight his way back through. He was looking to the outside. Jack Sherwood's closed right in, but the Jilks missile has made it up in a third. The 2 Kevin Mills racing cars are side by side. There's a little bit too wide there from Weberski, who manages to hang on to 4th just about by his teammate, but Jack Sherwood is also on the scene now. He's knocking at the door. He's waiting for his opportunity, which Tom Mills is going to try and open up into Abbey.
Those teammates were separated by absolutely nothing. That was so close. I was expecting to see contact there, but Weberski kept his foot in around the outside, just about stayed on the track enough not to get dragged off by those serrated curves on the edge, which can drag you off. We saw that with Logan Hannah on the exit of this corner of the loop, but now we've got the 2 hill speed red and white cars, followed by the 2 grey and blue Kevin Mills racing cars, followed by the black and yellow of Jack Sherwood. He is now in the back of this group and looking for a top 5.
Yeah, I think he's going to give it a go here because he's got to the outside, takes it all the way back over to the white line. But look at this, the 2 Kevin Mills racing cars over to the left-hand side of the shot. It's 3 wide coming down to the Brooklands. Jack Sherwood lifts out of it. Tom Mills is trying to get it around the outside, whilst Max Maserati is able to hang on at least for 3rd position for now. As we look backwards, it's Tom Mills who's lost the spot though to Jack Sherwood. He tried making it stick around the outside, but it wasn't enough.
Jack Sherwood, we didn't exactly see what happened there, but he went outside. I think Tom Mills also went to the outside, so potentially there was a bit of a cutback there. But now Megan Jilks in the 64 looking at her teammate in the 81 of Max Maserati. Yeah. This could be an inter-team battle, both in front and behind.
Yeah, this is Megan Jilks trying to get past her teammate that is second in the championship, runs wide at Cops, as there was also a little bit running wide in the background. Yara Waberski trying to keep Jack Sherwood at bay, 4th position, once again heading into Maggots. That one's ticked off. Jack Sherwood still trying to commit it. Yara Waberski is able to hang on to 4th, but Jack Sherwood, I mean, he is on an absolute mission. He's desperate for at least one podium this weekend.
Yeah, you know, he's been on a run of podiums before this weekend. A bit of a struggle this weekend, of course, with the unfortunate error from Waberski ending Jack Sherwood's race in race 1. These two have had history this weekend, but he's going to try and get one back on him. He's looking inside, he's looking outside. Tom Mills has just lost a toe, so it's going to, whoa, big moment there for Sherwood. That could leave him vulnerable to Tom Mills in the entry of Vale.
Jack Sherwood, to remind you by the way, has the most consecutive podiums of any driver in the series. Had 5 consecutive podiums, of course, coming into this round. We were expecting that to go to 6 and 7. Unfortunately, it didn't, courtesy of some drama, but he at least wants to start the streak once again. There's still 6 races left in the GB4 Championship of 2022 after this race, so things are certainly not done.
We are not done yet, Lewis, are we? We have got plenty of racing to come, and even in this race with just a lap and a half remaining, we have a lot of racing to go. If Megan Jilks can get back on the tail of Max Maserati, we know that Jilks' car is very fast in straight line. She's got that set up, hooked up for a straight line, and that can help her get past her teammate. Her teammate Max Maserati in that 81 car that we're looking at right now would not want that to happen, because he wants to minimise that gap to Taylor, who is absolutely walking away with this 8-second lead. Probably be over 8 seconds by the end of this lap, because he is faster than anyone in Sector 1 by 4/10. Wow.
Absolutely incredible at the moment. You saw the defensive line there from Maserati coming down on the Wellington Straight, just trying to break the slipstream from his teammate. At the moment, I mean, coming into this race, it's a 20-point lead for Nicholas Taylor. It'll be going out to 26 if Max Maserati can hang on to 2nd position. If he lets his teammate go, then it will be out to 29 points, I do believe. But never trust a commentator's maths. And right now, Max Maserati is not thinking about that one bit. Is looking to the outside. Megan Jilks is trying to send it.
That is a speculative move. We've seen Charles Leclerc do that in Formula 1, but she thought better of it. Again, teammates, they know they don't want to take each other out. They're both in the championship for themselves, but also for the team as well, so they won't want her to do anything silly. They said that they could potentially work together. Look who's on the back of them, Jared Waberski. We know he is pushing hard. We know how good he is at overtaking. We've seen it in this race and previously this year. He's got an excellent run. He could be looking at the outside or inside of Megan Jilks here.
Yeah, but the Jilks missile is able to hang on, at least for now. The slipstream, she's got slipstream with her teammate, and the straight line speed of the number 64 is just about enough, but Waberski's going to have to try and send it down into Stowe. A little bit too deep as Megan Jilks is closing up towards Maserati. Waberski straight around the outside. He did it on his teammate. He's done it on Megan Jilks as well, and Waberski's up onto the podium. The number 20's making it stick right now. He's got Max Maserati to tick off as well as the final lap of the race as we head through Vale.
Oh, drama on the final lap. Waberski went outside after both the hill speed cars went inside. He made the most of that break nice and late. We know there's grip out there. He's done it once. He practiced it on his teammate, and the teammate Tom Mills is unfortunately falling off the back of this. Sherwood is licking his lips once again. He thinks this is going to kick off in front.
This is not done yet. There is definitely going to be at least one more move. We know what it's like down into Brooklands. There's always an opportunity for something to happen. It's exactly what we saw in the previous race. Brooklands was the final decider.
It could be even happening here. Like Waberski going nice and wide to get the cutback. He's right there on the back of Maserati. Maserati with not the slipstream he hasn't got the luxury of a slipstream, although he's got a good exit. We know those hill speed cars are quick in a straight line, but he is going to be punching a hole in the air. Waberski is going to be right there. We know Taylor's going to win. I want to cut back to the battle behind.
Well, here they are then up towards Brooklands as they all race their way through. Maserati able to hang on potentially to 2nd position as they head their way through Brooklands. We'll cut back in a second towards Nicholas Taylor. Well, we'll take the double dub and we'll throw it out of the window as Jack Sherwood's trying to do something here, because it's going to be the triple for Taylor as he crosses a line here at Silverstone. He's finally done it. Maserati's going to race his way towards the line, 2nd in the championship, 2nd in the race as it's a drag race as Megan Jilks is trying to make it stick. Maserati's going to take 2nd. Waberski's done it though. He hangs on to 3rd position as Jilks in 4th, Sherwood in 5th, Mills in 6th, and they're all covered by basically a blanket.
That is so close there. There is half a second between 4 drivers there.
Incredible.
Wow, that is a great finish. Amazing race. Some excellent moves from all the drivers there. Maserati and Jilks making their way through the back of the field, and then this man here, the triple win.
8th win of the season. Of the 18 races that we've had, he's approaching winning half of them. He's done such an incredible job, has Nicholas Taylor, to pick himself back up after a not so great round at Snetterton. It went backwards for him.
It's a shame you didn't predict him as race winner, Lewis.
I kind of did. I just didn't want to jinx it.
I forced it out of you, so I don't think you can claim that one. But an amazing drive from Nicholas Taylor. He's had the pace of the weekend, really. After that different qualifying, difficult qualifying, he sorted himself out. 10 seconds was the margin at the end of the race. Of course, aided by all that fighting behind. Jack Sherwood will be happy to get back in the top 5 after that very, very tricky first lap where he fell pretty much to the back of the field. But amazing racing. Race 3 always throws some drama, both in GB3 and GB4. I've absolutely loved it today. It's been amazing.
I mean, 2 wins for a driver. We've now we've coined it as the double dub, or a quadruple U. What do you call a 3-race win? A triple Taylor is probably about as good as it gets. We'll take a look at the race results though, as Taylor takes his 3rd win of the weekend, then Maserati and Wilburski. Those will be the 3 drivers we'll catch up with immediately after the race. I'm curious to see how Maserati will be after that race. Then we've got Gilks and Sherwood separated by very little across the line. Then Mills, Logan Hanna, Marcus Short, Jess Edgar and Chloe Grant. Unfortunately for Christian Lester, is still on the grid. He'll finish in 11th position, but still a lot of progress has been made this weekend. A triple win over a weekend, what do we call it? Exactly.
3 wins.
Exactly.
3 wins. I don't think Nicholas Taylor will care because he's got 3 trophies. He's got the points in the bag. He's got the championship lead. He has done everything he can this weekend to remount his championship challenge and retake that lead of the championship, because Max Maserati, of course, came into this round leading.
It's a perfect weekend in the races that started with a not so great weekend from qualifying. We not exactly pleased. We were a bit disappointed with qualifying.
Exactly. I mean, anyone who watched the Formula One, I haven't watched the Formula One race today because I've been very much focused. Anyway, I've been very much focused on the GB3 and GB4 races, but I watched qualifying last night from Formula One. What did George Russell say over the radio and on the post qualifying interview?
Oh, I have no idea.
He said, and I quote, I'm going to paraphrase, I can't remember the exact quote, but he's like, "That's great, points come tomorrow," which shows how important the race is. Yeah. Qualifying is only the first step. It's just one step towards winning the race, but you can see what it means to Nicholas Taylor, triple race winner.
Climbing out of the car, taking his 8th victory, obviously straight into the arms of his engineer, of team manager, of his friend Brandon High, who's here, his brother as well, standing by, and respectfully to Max Maserati as well. There is a lot of respect between these drivers.
There really is. It's actually great to see. It's something that I think these championships, both GB3 and GB4, really, really have fostered, especially this year. I've seen that everyone is leaving each other room. It seems like that the racing respect is really there. Everyone is trying their hardest, racing hard, but no one is actually... you can see her.
Your Grandforce as well.
Yeah, happy with that. Of course, your Grandforce after an excellent weekend. That team are going to leave this round on a high Fortec after doing so well in both championships.
Well, they came into this weekend not leading in either of them. They're now leading in both. They're leading comfortably in this. They're leading moderately comfortably, you could say, in GB3 with just 6 races left to go. It appears that Silverstone has been the big swinger of the championship, and this is a driver who is on cloud 9. Jack Sherwood, another driver who's jumped over to congratulate and have a little bit of a chat and saying basically that was a crazy race for us. For you it looked a little bit boring. We'll find out from John Jackson.
Thank you very much, Lewis. We're just going to watch as Nicholas Taylor's mum gives him a big hug. Very, very happy family here. I've seen Max Maserati be just greeted by 2 young women, so Max Maserati's fan club is here as well, as Nick and Max get the all-important caps they wear here. We're just going to let them talk for a second. Don't want to spoil their moment here after some excellent racing there. I mean, they're still talking. Max Maserati never shuts up, actually. I don't think he'll mind me saying that. We're going to stick the camera in their face and eventually they will talk to us here. They've got to do a debrief. We've got to let them have their moment. We can just pan to the left, Ben, the cameraman. We see the Max Maserati fan club in the background there over Max's shoulder. We're maybe going to talk to them in a second. But first, Nicholas Taylor, I've stayed out of your way this weekend because I don't want to jinx you, because you've been in the position to win 3, and I've said, are you going to win 3? And then you haven't won 3 and you've been a little bit dejected. And I'm not saying it's my fault, but you've now won 3. How does that feel?
Yeah, I mean, we should have done it last time, but now we've actually done it, so it feels amazing. The car was amazing thanks to the team. I mean, it's all up to them, really. I mean, it was bloody quick.
It really was, and we've said that, you won from what, 5th, 4th, and that was what, 7th? And you managed to win from there? I mean, could you win from the back of the grid next time?
I mean, with that pace, definitely.
it's been a fantastic weekend for Fortec, and watching what happened with Yoel in the GB3 race, that must inspire you as well as the GB4 driver.
Yeah, I was watching towards the end of the race, and he's made up like 18 positions. I was like, yeah, if he can do that, I can do that. So I try to copy him.
Now look, a final question is, you've got a lot of people here, friends and family. Did you know that you were going to be good at Silverstone? Because it seems like you've invited everyone to enjoy your success.
Well, I was quick last time, but it wasn't really up to me. I mean, I don't really like the pressure, but I mean, their support is amazing. They really pushed me on to get the 3 wins.
Yeah, they've been very, very supportive, and I'm going to let you go and celebrate them with them now. 3 wins from 3 races this weekend. Nicholas Taylor, your championship leader in the GB4 Championship. I mean, we were talking before, myself and Piers, that if he gets ahead, he will just go. And I mean, there was one shot there towards the end of the race where Nicholas Taylor was the only driver in shot, and in such a short race, we don't often see that very much, so that was very, very impressive. Now, where is Max Maserati? He's right behind me here. I don't want to get in the way of Nicholas Taylor's photos, as we can see Nick just getting his photo taken by a resident photographer here. Got to make sure those are on the socials. They'll be up in record time, I imagine. Max Maserati, I was just saying, they're greeted by a couple of young ladies, and we see the Max Maserati fan club over here. I mean, what?
They've all got the sunglasses.
They've all got the aviators. What's this all about? Friends and family?
Yeah. So the second one in is the one with the brown hair. That's my girlfriend, and then they're all friends, family, kind of. My family's on the right there.
Amazing,
and
amazing.
Then,
We see your dad here all the time, and he's very supportive of you, so it's nice to see you've got a load of people here with you. Now, I mean, starting from the back, it was always going to be a little bit tough, but to get where you got, I think that's a pretty good race.
Yeah, we went high risk, so we went high on the tyre pressures, which is what we wouldn't do the last race, and so we knew it was all that. I knew after the first lap, though, because Nick had such a good, he was those couple places ahead, and it allowed him to get through all the back markers quicker. And then by the end of the first lap, he was basically already in the lead or close to it. So I knew the race for the win might have been over, but if we get into second, we make up enough points because of where we started, and we still make up some back on Nick. So we still gain, and that's what we did. And once I got into second, my rear tyres were done. They were cooked. So I was just hanging on for my life.
I was going to say, Jared there, overtaking Megan and coming for you. I mean, a couple more laps would have been tricky on those tyres.
Oh, no, one more lap, I would have dropped like a stone. Like it was that close. I knew on the last lap, I knew what I had to do, and if I got past Tom a bit quicker, I made the wrong move. I tried to go up the inside, and he had me on the grass, so I backed out of it, and then it put me a couple laps to regain to be able to go again. We eventually got him into Copse, and it carried on through Maggots and Beckett's, eventually doing him to Beckett's, but it was so intense, and I think that was the race of my life. It's amazing because the first race I finished second, and I was so broken-hearted, and this race I finished second, and I'm through the roof. We keep the title fight alive. We go on to Brands. We can still get this.
That's how it happened.
I think we've had the fastest lap, haven't we, over the 3 races?
Yeah. You've been very, very quick.
We've been the quickest guy this weekend, and it just hasn't fallen our way. But we keep on fighting. Nick's a great competitor, so he's going to keep me on my toes, and I can't wait to get to Brands and continue this fight.
Yep, still a very achievable gap there. It's been a weekend of highs and lows for you. We started low with your race suit being mouldy after the champagne, and then we got the highs of the great qualifying and then the first race and everything. But it's nice to know you've ended the weekend on a high. I'm going to let you go and celebrate with the official Max Maserati fan club now. Is there a membership? Do they get a newsletter?
They have a dance.
Do they get? They've got a dance.
You go up, they have a dance.
All right, maybe after the podium, because we've got to let you go to the podium. Max Maserati finishing second there. We'll just let you go and celebrate with the Max Maserati fan club. Let's find Jared Waberski for everyone watching back in South Africa. 2 podiums for you this weekend, and I mean, you were absolutely just pushing it to the limits there.
Yeah, no, good race 3 result. Especially, we had the pace all weekend. We knew that, so we had to work quite hard in the second race, and even harder now in the third race. But we're really chuffed with the development we've had with the car and myself throughout the year. So yeah, I can't thank the team enough.
And we've been talking there, and Max thought one more lap you'd probably have him. Do you reckon?
Yeah, I think so. I got Megan on the last lap, then I was quite close at Max on the end, so I think one more lap and probably could have got second.
Absolutely. Well, we've got 6 races left in the championship, and you know what, you're not far away from Nick and Max at the top there, so I'm sure you'll be hoping for some more excellent results. And Jared, we're going to let you go now because we've got to get you to go to the podium. We know you've got a lot of fans and friends and family here with their flag from South Africa. Jared Waberski there for Kevin Mills Racing, coming third here in the final race of the GB4 Championship this weekend. We're going to head over to the podium now. I believe the drivers are probably ready. Lewis McGlade will talk you through it.
Yes, I will. An attractive man as well directly behind him. My co-commentator has already made his way over to have a little chat with some of the drivers, and we can see our drivers march their way onto the podium. And with it, it'll be a third consecutive victory for Nicholas Taylor. And it's the first time this season that he's had 3 consecutive podiums, actually. He's never actually done that so far. Of course, Max Maserati joining them on the podium once again. It's Max Maserati's 11th podium of the season. It shows how incredibly consistent he has been. He had his lowest finish though of the weekend, or lowest finish of the season rather, this weekend, with a 9th place finish in that first race after the incident, but still managed to work his way into a decent spot in the races after. And you can see them marching up to the podium, up the stairs in the background, about to get ready to receive their hard work. Weberski's also finding a bit more consistency. Of the last 7 races in the championship, he's been on the podium 5 times, so an incredible effort. And there is Randy Jackson giving a bit of a handshake to all of the drivers. It's a very tall man, my goodness me. Nick, I mean, to be fair, racing drivers are not exactly the tallest bunch. I know Nick Taylor is not exactly 6 foot. Let's just go. Let's call it that way and move on from the topic. Nick Taylor taking another victory, but we'll see out onto the podium first. Jared Weberski to a 3rd position and to a 2nd consecutive 3rd position. The podium is actually exactly the same as it was in the previous race, because after Weberski receives his trophy, it'll be handed over to Max Maserati in 2nd position. Another podium, his 11th one of the season, the driver with the most podiums in GB4. And to the top step, it's the triple, it's Triple Taylor. And Nick Taylor onto the top step once again for the 8th time in 2022. An absolutely incredible drive as Nick Taylor takes control of the GB4 Championship with just 6 races left to go. 3/4 of the season down, 1/4 of the season left to go. But there is still so much drama. When we head to Brands, when we head to Donington Park, return to Donington Park, of course. Well, that was the round that really, for me, shifted it for Nick Taylor, because that was the one where Alex Walker sort of Nick Taylor showed how confident he really was behind the wheel, and shows exactly why he is a driver to keep an eye on in the future. As they'll march their way off the podium, no champagne celebrations, as much as there is a month and a half between this round and next. Clearly no one wants to do any dry cleaning, which, as far as I could vibe from the interview that Max Maserati gave a little bit earlier, I don't think he knew what dry cleaning was. Either way, I'll move on from my topics, because John Jackson, I'm sure, has something much more interesting to talk about.
Yes, Lewis. Always interesting things to talk about. I mean, me and Piers were talking about putting tape over air ducts earlier on. I mean, I thought that was very interesting. Anyway, we're just watching here. We were going to grab the Fulltech deputy boss, I think he is, Ollie Dutton, but he's just run away there. It's been an exceptional weekend, not just for Nicholas Taylor, but also for the team. I think they're going to move that car every time. It's been a great weekend for Fulltech, hasn't it, really?
Amazing. Nicholas Taylor, the triple win in GB4, so now leading the championship. Also, Joel Granfuss leading the championship in GB3 as well, which he'll be very happy with, considering he's had a 2nd, a 1st and a 3rd, so probably the strongest weekend of anyone so far this year, so Fulltech can't be anything but happy. We're just going to move forward so the cameraman doesn't get run over again. Honestly, wherever we stand at the moment, we're in the way.
They say motorsport's a dangerous sport. I assume they meant the drivers. I didn't realise they meant us just standing here, but I guess anywhere you're around mechanical vehicles, and it's always going to be a bit tricky. I mean, Max Maserati said the Max Maserati fan club will do a dance for us. I have a feeling if we put them on the spot, they won't do it, but let's find out. Okay, here we go. Max Maserati fan club, he said there's a dance and you've got to do it. So who wants to do it? We are live right now, so if you don't do it, you'll make me look silly and yourselves look silly. Here we go. Great. And we know Max has got he's got a new logo, hasn't he? I mean, I'm going to talk to you because he did shout you out there. What's your name, by the way?
Great. Victoria. Tour, yeah. The
Victoria Tour, whatever, that's fine. We'll call you whatever you want to be called. Max has got a new logo. And we believe that one of his guys in the garage is going to get the tattoo of Max's logo on the car if he comes in the top 3, I think, which I think is quite probably nailed on.
Well, they have so many bets with like getting tattoos if he wins some stuff, and he just needs to get that win though.
I know, 11 podiums, a lot of trophies, a lot of space in the house, but
the one that we want, you know.
yeah, I know. Well, he's very consistent, and I mean, there's 6 races left to go. Do you think he's going to get a race win this year?
He has to. I want to see the mechanics get like the tattoos and all the logos plastered everywhere.
Okay, that's fine. Well, it's very nice to speak to you. We enjoyed the dance. Thank you very much for that, and we'll catch up with you again. And we'll let him know that you've got his back with that 1 race win out of 6 for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Victoria. There. There's Max in the background laughing, loving the fact that I've been getting the Max Maserati fan club on the live stream. I think he enjoys that. We're going to walk and talk as always.
Let's go left.
Get out of the way of Jared Waberski's car there. I have to say, some very, very nice racing from Jared Waberski there to come from where he was battling Jack Sherwood, towards the back to come through and end up with a podium.
Sorry.
Where we are here.
Anyway, Jared Waberski got caught up a little bit at the start of the race with this man here, Jack Sherwood. They both went backwards, but again, both fought their way forward. Waberski slightly more effectively in that one, coming all the way to the podium. So amazing race for Jared Waberski. I spoke to his dad, and I did let him know that Jared, you can pass on the inside as well. So he did a lot of moves around the outside. Stowe was his place of choice for going round cars. We can now see all the teams packing away and getting ready to move on. They want to take that well-earned break, the month we've got between the next round.
They do. It's a long old gap, isn't it, Piers?
It really is. It really is.
See, I was hoping we might find some drivers, but we're having the same problem we have with GB3. I mean, I can tell you what, there's traffic on the roads. Look at the traffic in this garage here. The Chris Dittman Racing garage, and then you've got the Carlin garage there, and you've got Arden on the end there. A lot of racing cars there, all being packed up and put into lorries. Amazing if you've never seen these cars go to the lorries, Piers. I was absolutely astounded when I first started hosting this championship, just how much you can put in one of those trucks. They've got like 3 cars, a load of tools and everything.
All the floor as well. The floor, you forget about the floor because they lay plastic matting down, so if there's any oil that spills, it doesn't go on the floor and doesn't become a trip hazard.
I mean, Max Maserati now celebrating with drivers from the GB3 Championship. I mean, Max Maserati, he's absolutely on the ceiling at the moment. He seems so happy, doesn't he? And considering that the last race he got second and he looked fairly dejected. Like, we were back here at Silverstone in the first race weekend we had here, and I remember his dad Lee shouting, "Max, smile," when he came second.
Shows, he's happy where he's at the moment. He maybe thought that Nicholas Taylor had the pace in this weekend, and he did the best he could. He's had a very strong weekend, Max, there. Unfortunate to get that DNF, of course, in race number 1. Getting a clubber and then not being able to pit at the right time. But he's driving excellently. He's shown that if you carry on consistently putting the results and consistently perform, then you can be right there in the championship. And I do believe this championship will still go to the wire.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be tricky if Nicholas Taylor does keep putting in these impressive performances. Winning from 4th, 5th, 4th and 7th. That's ridiculous. And that Fortec car is very, very quick.
Of course.
I asked you in the GB3 Championship for your driver of the day. Driver of the weekend, of course. I mean, do I need to ask you this question?
It's hard not to say that Nicholas Taylor in GB4 is our driver of the weekend. He's bounced back from a very tricky qualifying where he said himself disappointed with 5th place. Again, not that bad in the scheme of things, but in his level, that's a bit disappointing. But then, of course, by the time he actually come away from the weekend, he's got 3 wins, so it's his strongest race weekend yet, which is amazing when you think about it. So I'll let you grab Richard Dutton if he's
absolutely. And we can, sorry, Piers, I'm absolutely deafened by the cars going around.
I couldn't really hear what you were saying either.
And we can just see Ollie Dutton from Fortec, obviously in charge of operations here, alongside his father Richard, and just having a little chat there. And I want to see if we can grab a word with him because it has been such a great weekend for Fortec. Ollie, you got time for a quick word?
Certainly, mate.
Quick word. We were just saying, me and Piers, come in, Piers, about what an exceptional weekend it's been for you guys, both in the GB4 and the GB3 Championship.
Yeah, well, it has been. Yeah, we've got 6 podiums, 4 wins, so we'll take it all day. Nick's done a great job. Bounced back from Snet, losing the championship lead, I think, hurt him a little bit. So we were quick on Thursday, Friday, and didn't make a bit of issues with the car, and we weren't there. But to bounce back, get 3 wins, super happy. Jess moved forward, so we're proud of how the team's working. Engineers and the staff, the mechanics are doing a great job. So happy with the GB4s, and then Joel. Don't know what really to say about him. He's just coming through so strong. He's impressing us all the time. Unfortunately, what happened to Luke was one of those things, one of those circumstances we don't really want to take advantage of that, but we will. If it comes to us, we will. and to be leading both championships at the end of the weekend. I don't know what to say. You know?
No, that's it. I mean,
we're super happy.
I was going to say, you've pretty much answered every question I was possibly going to ask you there. So I'm just going to ask you a personal question. We know you've got a fantastic camper van that we see on your social media.
I do,
and if you've not checked this out, I mean, check it out on your
pink.
Instagram. It's a pink camper van.
It is, yeah.
Great colour.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
the pink helmet, right?
That's the one.
Know,
and we've got a bit of a break now. So is the camper van maybe going back to Europe?
Potentially, yeah. We've got some work to do. You know, we've got to prepare for the last 2 rounds. You know, not take the eye off the whole end game really. But yeah, maybe sneak a little weekend away in it, get some surfing done. Yeah, love it. But yeah, 2 more rounds. We've got to be focused on that.
Excellent stuff, Ollie. Thanks for chatting to us.
Pleasure.
And we're going to leave it there. We'll catch up with you again in 5 or 6 weeks' time. Ollie Dutton there from Fortec. And I think really, as we were just saying there, it's been Fortec's weekend. Luke Browning in the GB4 Championship and High-Tech did really, really well at Spa. This time around, your Grand Force, Nicholas Taylor, really making their mark and it's really owning Silverstone this weekend.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how the strength of the teams ebbs and flows. Some cars preferring other different circuits. It'll be interesting to see. Very different time. It'll be a very different circuit next time out. Silverstone, very long, open, flat corners, very high speed. Brands GP next, undulation. Of course, Silverstone's very flat. Undulation, bumpy, curves. We go through the forest, maybe different conditions. It might even rain there. We go a bit further southeast, and again, getting into September. So we haven't had actually a fully wet race in either of the championships.
Didn't we today? But not
nearly,
quite.
not quite.
I have to say, the first time I went to Brands Hatch. I mean, I've played Brands Hatch on computer games for years.
Great circuit.
Sims. I did not realise how hilly it is.
Oh, and even
it's like in a little valley.
Even in real life, it's even more so. I remember the first time I went there back in 2020 for a test day, and I'd never driven the circuit in something fast. I'd driven there in an MG3, which is a little different to a GB3 car. But going down Paddock Hill, you go over the top of Paddock Hill so fast, you're going out of the seat, and you get to the bottom, and it crashes down, the car bottoms out. Same again when you go down the dip up towards Hawthorns. So much commitment around that back section through the woods, because you literally have no runoff. It's track, curb, grass, barrier.
As I found out in the sim day on Friday. Which,
exactly.
You did get the fastest lap, so we definitely know what you're talking about.
Very different. You have to make sure that you're one with the car. We spoke about that earlier on. Browning was thinking he's going to be quite confident going into Brands. He was there quick in the official testing that occurred there.
You know what, the day I visited Yoel Grand Force was going around, the Fortec team were there as well, and Yoel, and actually Mikko Grundvig looked very, very quick there as well. So
it's a full commitment circuit, a little bit different to here because there's not so many long straights. It's a very narrow circuit, so overtaking will inevitably be more difficult. So as Browning alluded to at the end of our GB3 stream, it's going to be a bit more qualifying heavy, even in GB4 I imagine. We've seen some racing, amazing racing, but I think qualifying is going to be very, very important going in for both the GB3 and GB4 drivers into the Brands GP weekend, which all relies on confidence, setup, and then of course executing those tyres, because of course the tyres need to be in the right window.
Yep, absolutely. Well, look, it's been Nicholas Taylor's weekend in the GB4 Championship. As I mentioned there, Brands Hatch is the 10th and the 11th of September, so a little bit of a break there. In the meantime, feel free to watch everything you've maybe missed out on or you've caught up with, or you can watch it as many times as you want on replay if you want to. And it's been an exceptional weekend here in Silverstone. So Brands Hatch the 10th and the 11th of September, and then we end the 15th and 16th. Donington is the final round in the GB4 Championship. It's also the final round in the GB3 Championship, with everything still to play for. But this has very much been Fortec's weekend, so they'll be celebrating tonight as we wrap up our coverage here of the GB4 Championship at Silverstone.